with lakhs and lakhs of rupees per annum and that kind of thing, particularly in Bangalore. But the cost of living is also constantly increasing, resulting in shrinking savings, inadequate access to health care, and lack of quality education. Maternal mortality rate remains the top cause of the death among young women. Further, more than half of young urban women are anemic, pointing to the inadequate food and nutrition. It has been found that the problem is not urbanization per se, but the inequalities that seem to accentuate all this spatial inequality. That's the major problem. And the regional disparities in education mean the benefits will not be evenly spread across the country. You will have found that a person in an urban area has a chance, 93% greater chance than a person in a rural area to get trained in any skill. It is very, very difficult for anybody from the rural area to get the same kind of training advantage what an urban youth can have. Now, we should also see we are all scientists, we are all technologists, we are all management experts, we are all got good education. But there should be an index to identify whether our workforce is really the right workforce which is capable of doing the right things for the development of the country. It was the economic survey by the UN which has created that index called the Human Capital Index. Human Capital Index is one of the parameters, or what they call as the pillars, to be considered. And it has 4 factors: health, education, employment, and all the factors which turn to give the returns on this. These are the 4 parameters. And if you look at the grading which has been provided after a lot of statistical evaluation of these people of our country, you will find that in the hierarchy, we are at number 78 as a nation. And we will be surprised to know who is number 1. It is Switzerland. Number 2 is Finland. Number 3 is Singapore. Even US is close to 16. UK is 18. UK is 8. And our friend China is 42. So you can imagine, if you really want to look at yourself as a developing nation, this HCI, as we call it, Human Capital Index, is an indicator of what is the quality of our workforce. And if this workforce is the youth, because we just talked about 64% will be the youth tomorrow, then if this is the HCI for me, this is not a right signal we are giving. The right signal would be to improve this HCI. What are the factors? Education, employment, health. 3 factors, and the environment which will make these things better, to give a better return on this. Now, all these 3, in India's case, have got contributing factors. US is not able to do it, coming to 16, not because they don't have health, or they have got problem today of employment, and in some cases education, but their health pattern is good, so they are sitting at 16. But a country like Finland or Switzerland, all these factors are taken care of. As a result, their workforce is really contributing. So the per capita or per unit contribution of human youth or the youth is what is not actually brought out by the various reasons what we are going to discuss. Now today, the need of the hour is not just looking at what the world was yesterday. If we have to contribute tomorrow, if all of you have to contribute tomorrow, you have to also look at where the world is going. Is the world of 1950s? No, it is not the world of 1915 anymore. Bangalore did not have an IT infrastructure even in 1980s. It's only in 1990, 2000 you have the explosion of information taking place. Many of the things what you see in this country did not exist. Maybe it existed in other countries. So the world has changed. So this 21st century world, what we call is, has the following characteristics. Information explosion. Economy is no more concentrated within your country. It's a global economy. You are all talking to United States of America and doing business overnight through satellite. Transportation of goods, manufacturing, everything is across. If something goes wrong in the US economy, it has a direct impact on the dollar value in our country, and so on. So global economy, international competition. Obviously, you can't be selling your goods only within yourself. If you have to survive, you have to be competing. You see what is happening in China today. China is dumping all the items in the country. As a result, you have a problem of Indian industry getting the beating. whether it is consumer products or high-tech products. Photovoltaic cell industry in the country is completely zero today because China is dumping the photovoltaic cells at a very, very low cost. Those of you who are in the industries, you must be seeing what is the plight of many of our manufacturing sector. Now, this is the international competition, which has its own vagaries, and they have to be handled not only through the technological means, but by legislation, by your capacity to bargain through the international marketing process and so on. Finite resources. It's very important that today resources are dwindling. All of us are using more and more, and the resources are not able to cope with us. In fact, I had a slide to show that even in 1995, as a total race in the world, our consumption is 123% if you look at the total resources which are happening. That means it is going to die down over a period of time, whether it is materials or it is any of the things which are on which the natural things are based on. And that's why the mantra which is coming today is sustainability, the environmental sustainability. Demographic shifts. We have demographic shifts, we already discussed, and this shift is very important in our case, particularly because I think you mentioned about many people going from IITs and IIMs and many of the institutions abroad. And many of our workforce, not so many from IITs, many of our workforce, skilled workers, air conditioning mechanics, carpenters, blacksmith, this, that, going to Middle East countries and, sweating it out and sending money back home. At least they are sending money back home, and they are actually improving some part of the foreign exchange reserve of my country. But those who go from IITs and IISc and IIMs and those places and work throughout their life in that country and do not bring back anything to this country, that is my concern. In fact, I want to give you a story. As a Director General of DRDO, I was looking for filling up the post of Director of GTRE. GTRE is a gas turbine research laboratory, and we certainly wanted to make sure that we should get the best skilled scientists who will come and head this organization, give the necessary push so that the technology of gas turbine engines can be actually done up. And we realized that there was a gap, and in country we had certainly gap in this area. I advertised all across, in all the international journals, all the newspapers, embassies. Unfortunately, not even a single Indian scientist responded to that. If that is the way my scientists who are being educated in IITs, IIMs and going to contribute to the good of this country, sorry, status is not very, very encouraging. Dual use, shared wealth and defense reinvestment, diverse workforce, you can't be focused only in one area, and cognitive revolution. And the one area which is emerging, many of the IIM friends sitting, they might have read somewhere, is the word of circular economy. Gone are the days when you will produce, market and use. It's not use, it's use. Maybe earlier we used to say dispose. No, it's not dispose, it is reuse. That means you have to recycle the whole thing to reduce the consumption of the material resources and bring back new processes, new designs to convert what can be extracted out of the used product into another new product. So 3R signal has become 6R signal today, and that is where the youth has to start working. All of us have to start working to make this circular economy concept very, very important. So in the wake of these technological, environmental, social and economic conditions, it is necessary that we should reorient ourselves from development to sustainable development. The role of science and technology in sustainable development is viewed in a new way with emphasis on technologies for empowerment in education, information, communication, environmental sustainability like sustainable agriculture, clean and renewable energy, improved resource efficiency, and the focus should be on sustainable development as system as a whole, not on just particular component. At global level, people are saying that sustainability is something where you can strike a balance between environmental concerns of national resources, techno-economic systems and their development, and societal concerns of human capital and social expectations, which results in development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. We have to look at our future generation. I want to mention this to you that we as engineers, I'm an engineer, many of you are sitting here as engineers, we as bureaucrats, you as planners, managers, professionals, over the last 100 years, we have actually given comfort to the society by developing all kinds of things, whether it is railroad, it is transportation, communication, health services. But have you ever seen the type of human print which you have left on the whole planet Earth? Which is what is bothering us: global warming, diminishing resources. And I'm surprised to see that even in a city like Bangalore, which has the largest percentage of the intellectual capital of this country, the type of growth that has taken place in this city in the last 30 years is pathetic.